Question. We frequently offer supplications du'as, but they are not accepted. But a verse in the Quran, Mu'min 60, states that every supplication is answered? Answer. To answer is one thing, to accept is something quite different. Every supplication is answered, but its being accepted and exactly what was sought being given is dependent on Almighty Allah's wisdom. For example, if a sick child calls the doctor, saying, "Doctor, doctor," and he replies, "Here I am, what do you want?" and the child says, "Give me that medicine," the doctor will either give him exactly what he asked for or something better and more beneficial for him. Or knowing that medicine is harmful for his illness, he will give him nothing. Thus, since Almighty Allah is all-present and all-seeing, He responds to the supplications of His servants. Through His presence and response, He transforms the desolation of loneliness and solitude into familiarity. But He does this, not in accordance with man's capricious and importunate demands, but in accordance with the requirements of dominical wisdom. He gives either what is sought or what is better than it, or He gives nothing at all. Also, supplication is a form of worship and recognition of man's servitude to Allah. The fruits of this pertain to the hereafter. The aims pertaining to this world are the times of a particular sort of supplication and worship. For example, the prayers and supplications for rain are a form of worship. Drought is the time for such worship. Worship and supplications of this sort are not in order to bring rain. If they are performed with that intention alone, they are not worthy of acceptance, for they are not sincere worship. Sunset is the time of the evening prayers, and eclipses of the sun and moon are the times of two particular prayers known as Salat al-Kusuf and Salat al-Kusuf. That is to say, with the veiling of the two luminous signs of the night and day, Allah's tremendousness is proclaimed, so Almighty Allah calls His servants to a sort of worship at those times. The prayers are not so that the sun and moon will be revealed, whose appearance and how long the eclipses will continue have anyway been reckoned by astronomers. In just the same way, drought is the time for the prayers for rain. In the visitation of calamities and infliction of harmful things, the times of certain supplications when man realizes his impotence and through his supplication and entreaty seeks refuge at the court of one possessing absolute power. Even if the calamities are not lifted despite many supplications, it may not be said that they were not accepted. It should rather be said that the time for the supplication is not yet over. If through His graciousness and munificence Almighty Allah removes the calamity, light upon light, then the time for that supplication is over and done with. That is to say, supplication has the meaning of worship and man's acknowledging his servitude to Allah. As for worship and servitude to Allah, it should be purely and sincerely for the sake of Allah. Man should only proclaim his impotence and seek refuge with Him through supplication. He should not interfere in His dominicality. He should leave the taking of measures to Him and rely on His wisdom. He should not accuse His mercy.